They screaming peace when there ain't no peace. Israel prophesying in the streets. Look at me, the center of attention. Black Messiah coming with a vengeance. Coming with a vengeance. Black Messiah coming with a vengeance. They screaming peace, it ain't no peace. We prophesying in the streets. We seeking peace in the streets of Babylon. Brandishing Glock 40s, tucking heat like a carry-on. Sinning against the fathers, got me sleeping, not napping on. Christ the King revealed, that's aerial phenomenon. Kicking against the bricks, lose your soul when that fire come. We purify better than gold, got my Bible on. And that's all that I know, when Babylon gon' fall, watch it blow, ayy. Switching it up, the nation's gon' drink it, I'm talking the cup. Don't care what you thinking, believe in the gospel. God is thinking, the fires of heaven gon' gather for dinner. The ear of the flesh, the wicked, the sinner. Your mama, your sister, your daddy, your cousin. If they issue, if they mind, they don't repent.
Listen to this and see it with your own eyes. No more, we just gonna make up something. The pastor that made up a lot of stories every Sunday. We ain't making up nothing. We showing you with your own eyes. We opening the Bible, showing you the pictures, reading the book. We ain't up here hooping. We ain't your Christian pastors. So let's read Genesis 49 verse 1.
How long do y'all be out here?
We be out here for a few hours.
And how long often do y'all come back through?
Every Saturday we be out here teaching. Now sometime in Vicksburg we might be in Jackson. We be in different spots.
Okay, because I may want to bring a
Call that number on the back and we'll let you know we're going to be out here again.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And we got a church in Jackson. You can come to our church in Jackson. Ain't about 45 minutes away. Gas up and come on down there and see us. Read Genesis 49 verse 1.
Bring it up.
Genesis 49 verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 49 and verse 1.
Read.
And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together.
You had Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Y'all heard these names. This is right here, Jacob. Read.
Gather yourselves together.
So he say, all my sons, come gather together. He was about to get ready to pass away. So he called all his sons to come and gather together. Read.
That I may tell you that which may befall you in the last days.
Let me tell y'all what's going to happen to y'all in the last days. What's going to happen to your lineage, your families that's going to come from you in the last days. These days. Read, because remember, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. That's why you got the 12 tribes of Israel.
That's right.
Us today. Read.
All his sons.
Right.
Verse 2.
And all those sons were black, dark skin. All of them were. We just got lighter because we mixed with the other nations at one point.
Yeah.
Read.
Gather yourselves together, and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father.
He said, hearken unto who?
Israel your father.
Because he know the angel changed his name from Jacob to Israel. He wrestled with an angel. You might have heard about that story in church. So, right, you know about it. Touched him on his hip. Let's go down to verse 8. We're going to read about one of his sons. So he told all his sons. You know, back then they had a lot of children. Like my grandma said, she said she was like, her brothers and sisters, there was like 14 of them. Similar in the Bible right now. So he's going to point out one of his sons. Listen to what he tell one of his sons. Verse 8. Read.
This is Genesis 49 verse 8. Judah.
Who is he talking to?
Judah.
He's talking to one of his sons named Judah. Read.
Thou.
Which means God's praise.
That's
Judah, that name means God's praise. Wow. Read.
Thou art whom thy brethren shall praise.
He say, Judah, your brother, they gonna praise you. Your brothers, you gonna have an attribute to where your brothers gonna praise you. Why? Because Judah gonna do something. Judah's lineage, Judah's children that come from him is going to do something. Read.
Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies.
Now he say, look, Judah, your hand gonna be in the neck of your enemies.
Right.
What does that mean? Because right now we think we each other enemies. We on a low level. We think Pookie, Ray Ray, Tyrone the enemy. Who is our true enemy?
I'm thinking it's
who?
white man.
You said it. The white man.
Yeah.
The Europeans. Who is our true enemy?
Well,
Are me and you enemies? Who is our true enemy? Our enemy. Who is our enemy? Who put it? You said it. I'm glad you said it.
I mean,
Collectively.
Because
Also, we the only ones that don't have our own land.
Right.
As a race, we do not have our own land.
Of the tribes.
Of all those tribes right there, we do not have our own land. You got Judah, the American blacks, we don't have nowhere to go. But you got Levi, the Haitians, they have their own island.
Right.
Haiti, right there with Dominican Republic. Dominicans, they have their own island. Then you have Issachar, which is the Mexicans. They go down to Mexico. They are brothers and sisters. But Judah, the American blacks, we the ones who got the most destroyed. We don't have our land. So how do we know the blacks are Judah? By the clues in the Bible. We telling you. And guess what? We're showing you.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
So Judah, we already know that was black. So let's read about their attributes. So read it again.
Judah, thou art whom thy brethren shall praise.
The brethren gonna praise Judah because Judah gonna be the ones to wake them up in the last days. What you saying right now? The tribe of Judah start coming out and teaching first.
That's
the
right.
tribe of Judah woke up the tribe of Benjamin. Judah,
right.
Benjamin, Levi, those three tribes, that was walking around when Christ was walking around.
That's right.
The Jews, when Christ died, he said he was the king of the Jews. Those three tribes were the Jews. Now you got Ephraim on down. You see what I say, Ephraim?
Yep.
Who next to Ephraim? Puerto Ricans?
Yep.
Judah will wake up the rest of the tribes. It's prophecy what you're seeing right now. Read.
Judah, thou art whom thy brethren shall praise.
That's why the other brothers gonna praise Judah, because we waking up all the 12 tribes. Read.
Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemy.
That means the tribe of Judah will be in the neck of their enemies, meaning they live close to their oppressor.
That's
like
right.
you always got black and white oppression. In the 60s, the 70s, you had Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. The names that we know here in America that's real prominent. You have Marcus Garvey as well. But y'all know Malcolm X. Y'all know Martin Luther King. What was going on during those times? It was civil war going on. It was like a civil oppression as far as separation, segregation is the word I'm looking for. Blacks on this side, whites on that side. But we was trying to fight against that. Martin Luther King was. Malcolm X said, you know what? Hell nah. Y'all go y'all way, we go our way. You know, some folks say, you know, Malcolm X, he was the right way. Some folks say Martin Luther King, he was the right way. But at the end, it all came down to Martin Luther King said, it was no hope for my people. I integrated them into a burning building.
Right.
Martin Luther King found out these white folks really didn't do us no good.
Yep.
After
When Malcolm X killed before Martin Luther King? Yeah, because Martin Luther
Yes.
King was last.
Right.
It was 5 people that were killed between 1960 and 1960.
You remember those times, huh? Y'all remember those times? So this was going on with Judah. Those men were during that time. Those men were in the neck of their enemies. Read.
Thy father's children shall bow down before thee.
Go ahead.
Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou hast gone up.
Going back to that point about the 60 to 70. The tribe of Judah that was making real change for our people.
Right.
They was making real, They was making real progress for our people.
Right.
They was putting in things like what they call it, like community centers. They was giving food to the children. There was the Black Panther. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to think about. The Black Panthers that was putting in programs for the people. They made a movie about it.
Yep.
What you got, my brother?
So how you know that was the tribe of Judah? How you know that wasn't the rest of the tribe?
That's the same thing I
That's what we
understand.
dealing with right now. Because the tribe of Judah has those attributes. Now, was some of them around, like the Spanish, the Brown Berets, was those other movements around? Yes. American Indian movement. Y'all got that back there? So
So you telling me the Spanish?
step in the shade for me. I want to deal with you. Don't get too hot on me.
I ain't gonna get too high.
Come on.
So you telling me the Spanish was a part of the
thank
12
you.
tribes?
The Bible is telling you that. Yes, the Spanish is part of the 12 tribes.
I ain't seen that get nowhere.
All right, hold on. Talking about Hispanic?
There ain't no such thing as Hispanic.
All right, now when you say Spanish, listen to this, my brother. When you say Spanish, are you talking about Europeans, or you mean like Mexicans, or you meaning like Puerto Ricans? What are you meaning?
Well, today's time when they say Hispanic, they talking about the Spaniards.
You talking about Europeans or you talking about the real Mexicans? The real
Mexican was me and you.
Okay, so let's stay on the same page. I'm not against you. I want to make a distinction. Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians. Those names we know today. Right now we'll say we blacks. If a Mexican walk up speaking Spanish, we'll say he Hispanic. Let's deal with that right there, right? Those are the 12 tribes. Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. That's right. Now in the Bible, they not called that. They called Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Look at the sign where it say Ephraim. See Ephraim, Manasseh?
I know the 12 tribes.
Okay, fine. So I'm trying to make sure we got an understanding on that point. Right? Right?
I got you.
All right. Now let's keep on reading Genesis 49, verse 9.
The book of Genesis, chapter 49 and verse 9. Judah is a lion's whelp.
Judah is a lion's whelp. He ain't trying to look. He already know. He say he already know.
I already know.
So if you already know, like, what's the issue? What's the contention?
I'm just here to listen.
Okay, keep going.
I'm just here to listen.
Yes, sir.
From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down. He couched as a lion.
That's the tribe of Judah having those attributes, couching down as a lion. Like a lion can get ready to pounce on his prey. The tribe of Judah, like we were saying, the Black Panthers, those movements during those times, the civil rights, that was us as a people was looking real powerful at that time. We was looking like a young, strong lion. That's the time we thought we was going to rise up. That's the time we thought we was going to have our own separation. Read that part again.
He stooped down. He couched as a lion.
God is saying the tribe of Judah will have those characteristics. The civil rights movements, the Black Panthers, the Brown Berets, we will have those attributes of a strong nation trying to revive itself.
That's right. And as an old lion.
But something happened. Now it's saying, Judah, you look like a strong lion. You blacks, you look like a strong lion during the 60s. Y'all had the Black Panthers. Y'all had Malcolm X trying to separate, trying to do substantial things in the earth. Trying to stand on your own 2 feet. Y'all look like a young lion. That's what God said. But what happened?
Who shall rouse him up?
Read that part again.
And as an old lion.
But now y'all like an old lion. What an old lion? He more relaxed. He's set in his ways. He don't want to fight no more. So what happened? From the 60s to 2020, what happened? The black man during the 60s were more knowledgeable about who the enemy was. Now in 2020, we think black man is the enemy. In the 60s to 70s, we have more knowledge of self. Now we have more knowledge of all inclusive. Let me start being like how can I say this? I don't want to say the white people, but it's like, let me start being like my oppressor. Let me start being like the other nations. Integrated now. Back then we was trying to be more independent. Now we're trying to be more integrated. Y'all follow that? That's why God say, Judah, you was like a strong lion. Now you're like an old lion. You ain't got no fight no more.
Days when you have the different parts of the body that came through as kings, and then the feet are mixed with clay.
You talking about the Daniel, the vision of Daniel?
American and European.
Right, go ahead,
No, don't leave. I was just gonna say this: when we crouched down as a young lion, we were starting to show strength as a people, like the brother said. When we became an old lion is when drugs was infiltrated in our community. The drug epidemic came in the 70s and on into the 80s. Mass incarceration, homosexuality. All these things started to be pushed into our community to make us an old lion. We forgot about the fact what we were fighting for was to separate from our enemies. We became integrated amongst them and started to live like them. So God says, now no longer. Right, so that alone weakened us. And when the Bible said we crouched down as a lion, meaning we were ready to pounce, then we laid down like an old lion who would not be roused up because of our sin. That's what the Bible's talking about.
God described each tribe. That's what we're trying to show you. How do you know the blacks is Judah? By the characteristics. God described the characteristics of Benjamin. He described the characteristics of Levi. He described the characteristics of Ephraim on down. So how do we know? We well studied.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission, We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.